All right, so now we've kind of shown a little bit about dry cleaning and using a dry fabric cleaner. Now we're going to move into the next level of cleaning, a little more effective on water-based spots and stains. We're going to talk about dry foam cleaning. So for that, Tim, if you want to hand me the ProChem Fine Fabric Shampoo.
You go, Pat.
So the Fine Fabric Shampoo, basically, we want to mix this 3 to 5 ounces per gallon. You need to understand that the more products you have in the gallon, for instance, 3 to 5 ounces, if I use 5 ounces, that's actually going to give me a drier, more dense foam than the 3 ounces would be. So I always go with the upper end of that when we're talking about that. So we need to make sure that we use a measuring cup. This is something that I think most cleaners know what it is, but very few of them have. So it's really imperative that we get to that 5 ounces. So I don't know if you've ever heard what I say, Tim, but if you're not using a measuring cup, then the form of measurement that you're using is what we call swag. That stands for scientific wild ass guess. So if you're not really measuring, then you're really kind of guessing. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you the first way to do a dry foam shampoo. And my preference in doing this is to actually use a natural sea sponge. And the reason I prefer this tool is that its capability of holding a lot of dry foam, there's a lot of air pockets involved in this. This particular sponge I've had for probably 12 years. It's been used numerous times, so it just shows you that we can, use this product over and over again. I will caution you, the one thing I want to stay away from with is our dry cleaning solvents. Right. Really bad on the sponges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my dry sponge, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it into the liquid, and I'm going to squeeze that until it's fully saturated with all that liquid. Now I'm going to raise that up out of the liquid, and I'm going to begin to squeeze this sponge until I have no more liquid coming out of it. As we work all the liquid out of this sponge, we're going to fill this sponge and all the air pockets with all this dry foam. And I think it's really imperative to understand how much air I need in this for the application of our dry foam, controlling the amount of moisture.
Pat, I see you're paying special attention to get away from the welt cord.
Yes, try and keep that as dry as possible. And again, once it runs out of foam, all I've got to do is just squeeze that.
Pat, while you're doing that, I just want to take a little pH paper and show you that the ProChem Fine Fabric Shampoo is actually slightly acidic. So we know that we're trying to clean this as dry as possible. We also know that these dyes are on the acid side of the pH scale. So by using a product that's also on the acid side of the pH scale, we actually have less chance of anything bleeding.
And again, this is a great way to get your detergents and your surfactants down on the material without a lot of moisture. And I think one key that we really need to put in front of the cleaner's mind, especially on upholstery, is use less moisture. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that most people understand. This is not the time for 400 PSI using your truck mount wand to do your upholstery cleaning with.
Again, I think most mistakes are made by overwetting.
I agree.
So if you can limit your moisture, a much safer way to clean. Yeah. So keeping it on the acid side, keeping it dry, these are all things that will give you confidence that you're not going to have a problem later on.
So with a little bit of agitation, we've got enough surfactants and detergents to do our cleaning. And then we would just do our dry extract. Or another method would be just to wipe it down. Tim, do you have another method of delivering the shampoo?
Sometimes if you just take a dry horsehair brush, and Pat has the shampoo whipped up into a foam, we're just going to take that foam off the top, leaving our bristles dry, and then kind of go back over it. If we have a problem area, instead of trying to overwet that one area, we can go back over it. This is also great on the welt cords, seeing as how in the front they normally get body oil and things like that. The ProChem Fine Fabric Shampoo has emulsifiers in there, which are great on body oil. So safe to use, it cuts through body oil and perspiration. And then once you've done that, we can then just take a dry white towel, paying special attention to your welt cord. We want to get it as dry as possible. Work the whole piece. And then we can take and do the body of that.
I think one of the things...
Dry it down. You can see there's a lot of soil coming off of that.
And I think one of the great benefits of the Fine Fabric Shampoo, Tim, is also the pleasant fragrance that it has. unlike a lot of your carpet pre-sprays that have that heavy cleaning fragrance.
Yeah.
Very pleasant on the acid side. Great way to suspend soil in a low moisture situation.
It's also very fast drying. So this piece here, if we have air movement going on, this piece can be put back into service in a very short time.
You can really see the amount of soil you picked off. And again, this is just low moisture cleaning. Great surfactants, great detergent values, controlling your pH, controlling your moisture. Two biggest rules we have in upholstery cleaning today.
You know, and this method is not very much, it's not harder than taking your tool and extracting, but it does look like more work. And I always like to say, ma'am, this is a hand clean only. So we can do this. It looks like more labor. It's really not that much more intense. And we can charge more for hand cleaning.
I like that. All right, so now we've gone through our dry foam, low moisture cleaning to show how effective it can be while controlling the amount of moisture. But Tim, one of the things that I noticed is you actually have two different types of shampoo for upholstery. Can you tell me what the difference between those are?
We do, Pat. The fine fabric shampoo is for colors, dark colors, any kind of upholstery, no matter what the color. The fine fabric cotton shampoo, this shampoo is used when you have a white or a off-white piece that are prone to browning. And this product has a reducing agent in it that actually prevents browning from happening. So it'll brighten up those whites or off-whites. And so that's why we have two different fine fabric shampoos. So fine fabric cotton for your white or cream colored pieces.
Okay. And that prevents that cellulosic browning that we've heard so much about?
It does, especially if you have like the old Haitian cotton, which is still out there. But a lot more calls today about the white linens and how do I clean it safely. Fine fabric cotton shampoo would be your choice.
And I think it's great to mention as well that, Tim and I are always available. You run into fibers or fabrics that you really have a problem with, we're always available at our direct line. We're always available via email and our live chat now, which is a great new feature that we have on our website. All of us are always available for you to get your answers to those problem materials. So check it out. Give us a call.
If it's after midnight, call Pat.
Gee, thanks, Tim.